everybody, Sarah here with the Big Blue House Homestead. So my dad came to visit and we spent a lot of good time together, but I neglected the garden a little bit, and today I'm having a little bit of some struggles and some things are popping up, and so we're going to talk about some of my garden fails today. Nothing too major. I haven't really lost any plants. I've got some tomatoes that I probably need to just pull out because they look awful. Struggling with my toothache plant. The soil is not moist enough, so it keeps drying out, so we're going to try to fix that. And I am being invaded by Japanese beetles. Yay! Well, what I did was I got my neem oil out and I got my sprayer and I made my little soapy neem oil solution, and I have been spraying, so we'll have to check out and see how those beans are doing today, because they were a mating festival of Japanese beetles, and yeah, I got to get those combated. And then I also have a problem. That's a silverline melon, early silverline, and Tigger. Saved seeds last year, and I never realized that like melons could cross-pollinate. Certain types can and others can't. I've been doing a lot of research past few days, and you know what? I didn't realize they would do that. So I got a new melon, I guess, and I wasn't expecting it. So let's go check this stuff out. Let me show you my problems today. Okay, so this toothache plant's suffering over here. Not sure why. I think it's just because the soil's not holding the moisture. So what I actually came through and I did is I put a clear tray underneath. It's one of the trays you put on aluminum pans, but I put it underneath. I top watered and I bottom watered. And so hopefully that will give it a little bit of extra water. I think the soil's just really bad. I went ahead and watered some of this other stuff going on over here. Just because it's really wilty, the soil is not holding moisture, so I definitely have to change that up next time I do this. Although I do have things blooming. Things are growing. Got some pretty little, I think those are bachelor buttons. And then my zinnias. And then I have a lot of empty pots because things just struggled and died. Coleus is doing all right. Got some milkweed. My big basket over here is doing great. Got a couple different types of zinnias growing. They're doing awesome. I've got snapdragons, and my poppies are setting their first blooms. So they should be blooming here real soon. But they're doing really good. Melon patch is doing really well. I've got vines starting to come out. So yeah, I'm going to have to deal with that this week. Like I said, I spent some time visiting and I should have been working, but I just wanted to hang out. So this week's going to be very busy for me. I'm going to have a lot of stuff to catch up on. But yeah, when your vines start coming out like this, I bought the fencing to put around. My chickens keep scratching up all the mulch I put down. We'll get it figured out. All right, flowers over here are doing fine. This squash is getting humongous. I don't know how I'm going to combat that. I was hoping it would trail over and go onto the tarp, but it is really hard to get it turned. And you can see all that weedy mess, my poor artichokes. And that's going to be one of the first things I start on, is getting into this bed. It's the most neglected and it really needs some love. But these sunflowers survived and they're doing well. And I've got gourds growing up and down all over. I let my hummingbird vine go over here just to help out with the hummingbirds. Plus it's a really pretty flower. So I don't consider that a weed, but you can see all that other is weed. So yeah, I got to get in here and get this fixed. Not sure how that happened, but I have a volunteer. I think we had a shooting range here for my daughter to use her bow and arrow, and I think this is a pumpkin that she shot. So this may be a Casper pumpkin. The white pumpkins were over here. They were the last ones that she was shooting at. So I'm going to leave him, and I'm going to let him grow. And what's funny is I've been mowing this down, and this thing has still come back to life numerous times without me even noticing. So we're going to let this one go. Got plenty of space. Those pumpkins over there are still small. If I can get these spaghetti squash to come over onto the blue area, I would still have plenty of room if this started to vine out, and get that all in here. Corn's definitely doing good in this area. I've got tasseling starting, and I can see some silks starting inside. So they're setting ears. I don't know how much I'm actually going to get out of here. But when they say knee high at the 4th of July, this stuff is as tall as the trellis. It's taller than me. So it's definitely a good year for me for corn. And then you can see down the row how everything's just getting super tall. Big stuff happening. Tomato suckers are doing okay. I think I'm losing one completely, but we'll see how the others do. But after a week of being in the ground, they're still alive. And the fennel bed that I spent so much time on is now becoming a weedy mess again. So I got to get that fixed. Another major issue I have is I planted garbanzo beans in with these. These are supposed to be black-eyed peas. And they said they were a bush variety, but definitely not, because they are trailing. So I probably won't get the garbanzo beans because you can see this poor little plant down here. It's not going to get any sun. Even if I remove these weeds, it's just not going to make it. Got all the lima beans over here, and they're trailing up pretty good, but a lot of them aren't. But I am not going to complain because I have lima beans starting. And that's all that matters, is to get lima beans. But while we're standing here, this is actually the silver line melon. I can get in closer and show you. There's the actual melons. Got quite a few in here. I think there was 5 total. But yeah, see the shape on those? It's really hard to tell with all these. But yeah, it's more of an elongated melon. It mixed with those Tigger melons, so let me show you what happened with that. All right, Tigger melon patch. These are the Tigger melons. And you can see they're nice and elongated. I have a small one here that's actually round, which means that plant is a true seed, where these are not. And I've got, I don't know, there's quite a bit. There's probably 20 or so in this area only, in this section. But that's not what they're supposed to be. So I don't know how to tell when these are ripe now. I'm not sure if they're still going to turn orange like the Tigger melons. So we're going to let them go for a little bit and see what happens. I'm just not sure if it's going to be an orange melon or a yellow melon, because when you accidentally cross-pollinate, you end up with some crazy stuff. But I'm not going to complain because, you know, having this many melons, they're still edible. I finally have tomatoes that are turning, but you can see how awful these plants look. These are the mortgage lifters. They are just not doing so great. So I've got to get in here and prune heavy and give them some love, because my goodness, they are not doing great at all. But I have a lot of struggles with my tomatoes right now. All right, this is the bean trellis that is absolutely just overdone. But you can see all this lacing in the leaves. It is just terrible. These Japanese beetles came through and just ate these alive. But I've been spraying for the past day at least 3 times. I do have bumblebees, so it didn't affect those. I have plenty of bumblebees. And I'm seeing, like, there's a Japanese beetle up in here. I'm trying to catch him, but I don't know if you'll see him. He's kind of hiding. But yeah, I just have to get in and spray some more. And I mean, even down to the bottom. I mean, just eating these leaves alive. So yeah, squash bugs and Japanese beetles. Don't want them in my garden. But yeah, even spraying, these bumblebees are happy as can be. Well, they don't want to be on camera, but they're happy. But yeah, just horrible Japanese beetle damage everywhere. Yep, so there's some pepper plants and a ton of weeds, basil, more weeds, and more struggling tomatoes there. So I definitely got to get some of this fixed. All right. This area is a disaster, absolute disaster. Not only did I not get any carrots, I do have, you know, a big section over here that I'm going to just save for seed. They're growing into the net, which means I can't get the net off, which means I'm stuck with a net. But can you see all of these canes? Raspberry. We dug it out, but it apparently didn't care to be dug out. So now my cucumbers are growing in raspberries. And what happens with that is anybody who comes out here to pick, when you go to reach through all of this, you get cut up pretty bad. Getting cucumbers though. So at some point I'm going to have to just bite the bullet and clean this up as much as possible because these are my best cucumber plants, and I would really hate to see something struggle. And I really want to get in there and get those cucumbers, but I also don't want to get my hands cut in a million pieces, and it's all just a tangled mess now. So yeah, lots of struggles. Yeah, I got this tomato plant over here that's doing pretty good. It looks like something's starting to eat the tomatoes, so I have to spray that. Banana peppers are just loaded down, so I got to come out and pick again today. Those are more of the black-eyed peas. You can see all those little tendrils shooting up off the top. Yep, see, they're all wanting to climb on something, so I have no idea how to fix this except build some sort of fencing barrier on top and possibly get them to climb. But I'm still happy with my beautiful marigolds over here. Beautiful flowers. A lot of my cucumbers are set in with disease now, along with the bucketed tomato here. That one I'm just gonna let the tomato ripen and then it'll get pulled. But even looking down the line, down here at the squash seem to be doing well. I've been combating the squash beetles as much as possible. This is glass gem corn, so it's up to my thighs now. Well, now it looks like it's up past my hips. But heirloom corn's harder to grow. It takes a lot longer, so I'll still get something off of it. It's just not going to be like the sweet corns. And you can see all those bucketed tomatoes just look pitiful. I do have my sunshine pickles. They're doing good. But yeah, a lot of this just looks absolutely awful. Lots of struggles. Oh, and here's the other side of that trellis with the tiger melons, which it goes up pretty far. But I couldn't contain all the vines like I wanted. I put way too many plants in here. And you can see they're all over there. They're through my leeks and chard and growing into my cherry tomato. So that's a fun thing when you have a vining plant. It just takes over everything. Everything. All over. Jimmy Nardellos. These are really lovely peppers. I love eating these. They're nice and thin-walled. Very sweet. Great for grilling. Great for just eating fresh, chopped up, sauteed, anything. And they're starting to turn. I've got quite a bit. But my problem is, if you can see that one down there, it's been so dry. It just dried up and shriveled. So I got to come out and remove some of these peppers and let these plants go. You can see a lot of these plants are doing okay. Garden seems to be looking all right. Just lots of weeds and lots to clean up. Hey, Chi-Chi. What you got to say? You're not going to talk today? All right. South Carolina, humid and heat, like always. Any of you who watch the channel know he didn't want to talk, but you think he's going to say something any minute now? Of course. It'll probably be loud cock-a-doodle-doos in a minute, so I apologize. But yeah, I'm going to go get some work done in the garden. Made my little to-do list, things I have to get done. Going to start with one bed at a time, probably get through 2 or 3 beds a day. And by the end of the week, the garden will be cleaned up and exactly where I want it to be again. And then I will do a full tour because I have peppers everywhere. Sorry, I got bit by an ant. I'm itching. But I have peppers everywhere. Tomatoes are starting to blush. I've got beans that I'm picking daily. It's just lots and lots of stuff going on. But I am going to start more recipes this week because as my garden's producing, I need to put out more recipe videos. So you may end up seeing 2 videos a day on occasion. Just because once I start cooking it, you know, I've got to use this up. When you grow a large garden and you get a lot of produce, you can't just let it sit around and waste. You have to preserve it. You have to can it, dry it, freeze it, eat it, you know. So I want to share some of those recipes, especially with things that most people grow but don't know what to do with and all of that. So, really sweaty, hot day today. I'm going to get in and I'm going to relax and I'm going to get things done. But yeah, it shows you that not everything's perfect in my little garden world. I make mistakes, I have issues, and I goofed up. I crossed a melon. Who knows? And see, the problem with that is crossing a melon, I cannot save seeds from those this year because it's not going to give me a true melon of any type, and they might not even produce melons. It's going to mess with the genetics and so on and so forth. And I'm not trying to create a hybrid. I just happen to plant some seeds and we'll see what it turns out. And if they're good, still got like that much in a bag, I can always regrow. Share with you guys, do what I need to do, but we can use all those seeds up and then I'll keep all the true melons. Once I figure out which exact plant is putting off the circular Tigger melons, then I can start saving seeds from it. If I don't happen to get any, I think I have 2 seeds left in my packet, and that's true seeds, because when I save my seeds, I try to save originals as well as the ones that I'm growing and saving from. And that way, if something went wrong with that seed, I still have some to go back on. So if push comes to shove next year, I just plant a couple extra Tigger melon plants, put them in an isolated spot, and I make sure I get true Tigger melons 100%. But never knew melons cross-pollinated. I mean, did you guys know that? I had no idea. No idea. I figured with the different types and the different ways that they are, that there wouldn't be any cross-pollination. And I didn't plant overly crazy. I just had Tigger melons on one trellis and then silver lines on another trellis. But I guess in between, those little bees did their magic and made me a new melon. Told you, he'll make a noise. So I probably will not save melons from my melon patch just because those were going to cross-pollinate too. But I have plenty of seeds inside and I can redo this all the time. I can just plant because I have enough to, seriously, like honeydew melons and Tigger melons, I have enough for a lifetime. Unless I want to grow like 7,000 plants in 1 year, which I doubt I'm ever going to do that. But alright, I'm going to go cool off. I'm going to get my stuff done and I'm going to work in the garden and get it finished because, you know, gotta keep working. Gotta keep working and gotta keep cock-a-doodle doing. And yeah, he's a booger. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.